been a while since I've been with you, and I appreciate you joining me for another LenTalk. And I've missed you, and I've missed our time together. And I hope that you will continue to support this and support my ministry. And today, I want to talk to you about the 6th installment in Dan Brown's series of Robert Langdon. It came out this year, and it was kind of interesting a few months after my book on semiotics came out. And this is Decoding the Divine, came out, I think, I don't know, April or something. And this, The Secret of Secrets. Dan Brown, by the way, in his 6 volumes, this is the 6th, has sold 250 million copies. Now, this will never even begin. I'm lucky if I 1/100th, 1,000th of that, but no, 1/10,000th of that. But at any rate, I want to do a review of Dan Brown's The Secret of Secrets, and I want to talk to you about the true secret. And then at the end of this LenTalk, I'm going to have a little PS. I'm a real life semiotician, and I dedicated my life to the study of signs. I call myself a theo-semiotician. But as a semiotician, I've always had a complicated relationship with Dan Brown's novels. And his protagonist in this, Robert Langdon, is maybe the most recognized semiotician in the world. He's an interpreter of signs and symbols, and to millions, semiotics is Langdon. Tweed jacket puzzles, esoteric codes, heart-pounding chases through cathedrals and crypts. At least that's what I remember from his books and the movies that have come as a result of them. But here's the rub about this number one semiotician in the world, Robert Langdon, is that Langdon is an entertainer, not an exegete. And what Dan Brown does with semiotics is thrilling fiction, but it's not sacred vocation. And as one whose life work is semiotics and service of Christ, which I bring together theo-semiotics, just call it theotics increasingly, I can't help but see where Brown dazzles and yet misses the deeper mystery. So I want to give this review where I give credit to Dan Brown for understanding the importance of semiotics, signs and symbols. But I also want to kind of acknowledge where I think, as a theo-semiotician, he went awry. Is a little wayward here. So this is Brown's latest. The Secret of Secrets revolves around the idea of a cosmic field of consciousness uniting all people. And the way he frames it in the terms of noetics, it's a noetic kind of web of meaning that is accessed by decoding symbols. It's clever. I got to tell you, this book is alluring. It resonates with New Age mysticism and Gnostic whispers, but it's not the heartbeat of the Christian semiotic imagination. And let's tell and talk about why. What theo-semiotics is and isn't, it's the study of signs and their meaning, making power. And when you make it theo-semiotics or theotics, we're talking about a study baptized into theology, discerning how God communicates, how God signifies and mediates the divine presence in the world. Dan Brown's Langdon is a hunter of clues, chasing after hidden fields of awareness. The theo-semiotician's calling is to discern God's living signals, beholding the supreme sign, who is Jesus Christ, and attend, pay attention to the Spirit who brings Christ to presence here and now. And so don't want to give away too much here if you want to read the book, but Brown's secret is consciousness shared horizontally. Paul's secret is Christ shared immanently, I-M-M-I-N-E-N-T-L-Y, and I-M-M immanently, I-M-M-A-N-E-N-T-L-Y. And this passage that we all know and that really kind of turned my ministry around, Colossians 1:27. The secret, the mystery that has been kept hidden has now been revealed, and the secret is, in other words, there's no longer a secret. Christ in you, the hope of glory. Now, Deuteronomy teaches us that God will always have secrets that will be kept from us, and one day we will have those secrets unveiled. But the ultimate secret for this planet, for this plane of existence, is Jesus in us. And the difference here in the kind of semiotics that Brown does, the kind of semiotics that I do, is seismic. Brown offers a field. Scripture offers a face. Brown points to awareness. Scripture points to communion. Christ is the ultimate sign. In Christian semiotics, the true secret of secrets is not some hidden code, but a revealed Christ, not gnosis, but grace, not cosmic connection, but divine communion. Can you feel the difference? Can you hear the difference? For him, in him, all things hold together. It's Colossians 1:17. In him, all the fullness of God was pleased to dwell. In us, the Spirit makes present the mind of Christ, 1 Corinthians 2:16. And that mind of Christ thing is huge in the difference between Christian semiotics or biblical semiotics and Dan Brown semiotics. The Spirit, unlike the secret of secrets, is no diffuse force of heightened awareness, but it's the very breath of God that conforms us to Christ, raises us into resurrection life, makes us living signs of God's new creation. And so I'm a little jealous of Dan Brown's storytelling gifts. I mean, he sold 250 million copies for a good reason. He awakens curiosity about symbols and the mysteries they veil, and I'm grateful to him for that. Yet, for those who walk the path of Christ, the secret is not a puzzle to be cracked, but a person to be experienced, encountered, and lived daily. Theodics is not about decoding hidden messages. It's about inhabiting the revealed mystery, Christ himself. It's understanding Christ as sign, Christ as signifier, Christ as signified. In other words, Christ as secret, Christ as the whole shebang. And while Brown leaves us chasing after codes and cathedrals, which is a lot of fun, the true theosemiotic adventure, the Advent adventure, is this: becoming living epistles, becoming embodied symbols of hope and glory. Not just interpreters of signs, but signs ourselves, pointers to the one who makes all things new. This is like the Issacharian principle, the tribe of Issachar. We're the tribe that knows the times, but knows what to do. It's not enough to read the signs. You got to become a sign yourself. So let me just shorthand this. The true secret of secrets is not a code to crack, but a Christ to encounter. Dan Brown gives us the field of consciousness. The gospel gives us the face of Christ. Semiotics thrills with puzzles, but theodics reveals the person who is the puzzle's answer and the puzzle put together. Now that I've said that, and this is my PS, and I think I may just be posting this on Facebook, and I may not. We'll see. But if you don't read, follow me on Facebook. This is for you too. I had an aha moment with Dan Brown, and I just was when I read this and understood this, it just, if you want to, this is a this kind of a, I'm breaking the kind of covenant that readers have with authors. So I'm letting you in on the punchline here for the book. So if you want to read the book and be surprised at the end, don't listen to me now. Just turn off the LenTalk. But what Dan Brown did in reframing, he did what I call an Ostraneni, a reframing of the halo. And I love this so much. And I've been writing for the last 20, 30 years, I've been writing on the need for a theology of receiving before we get the giving right. It's not about, giving to God of what's ours. It's about receiving from God of what is God's. And so we've got to start with a reception mode, a receiving mode, not a giving mode. The giving will follow the receiving. And I actually have posted, I think it's on my website, but I've published a theology of receiving and critique of the whole, like 10% tithing, that we owe a 10% tip to God of what's ours. No. The question is how much to receive from everything that we have is from God. And so I've been doing this theology of receiving for a while, and I've been wanting, what kind of metaphor could I have for it? And if Dan Brown, that stinker, in this book didn't give me, now he uses it differently, but it is brilliant. And I was just so stupid. I mean, why had I not seen this before? And so I'm calling this little section here, suspis the day. Now we're used to seize the day, but suspis is Latin for receive. And so instead of seize the day, what if we were to suspis the day? And what Dan Brown does, we've all seen halos in sacred art, those golden circles hovering above saints and sages. And if you're a living saint, it's a square halo. If you're a dead saint, it's a round one. So we got a lot more round halos than dead halos in Christian art. But what Dan Brown does, that he does it so brilliantly, is reframes the halo, not as a divine spotlight shining down as a sign of what goodness we've led, but as a signal strength indicator, a radiant aura pulsing outward from within. Now, when I was growing up, some of you will be surprised at this. I can actually remember this, and some of you won't. But we had TV antenna. Did anybody remember that on the television? You had antenna, and they were receivers, and you didn't get a good picture until you had your antenna perfectly aligned, and you had to have new alignments every day, because every day you had new signals coming in. And here is the brilliance of this reframing of the halo. The glow for Dan Brown is evidence of reception, not of your own brilliance and goodness and truth, but it's how strong is your capacity to receive. So it's a receiver. The halo is a receiver, and the better receiver you are, the bigger halo you have. Now, he doesn't say that, but I'm taking it here. I'm stealing his metaphor. So the halo is less about broadcasting and more about tuning in. And some of you heard me before. Atonement is attunement, and we got to think. We got to think in terms of frequencies here. And I've done books on this. But wow, how I missed this. So it's not seize the day, but suspicious the day, meaning receive the day. And Christianity is all about this receiver first theology. Matthew 10:8, Jesus says, what? Freely you have received. Now freely give. What do you have that you did not receive? That's Paul, 1 Corinthians 4:7. Yes, it's more blessed to give than receive. But you try handing out blessings from empty pockets. Every gift begins as a receipt. Do I need to repeat that? Every gift begins as a receipt. There is no giving without receiving first. In fact, the seed of giving is itself receiving. Blessed giving is born of grateful receiving. Grace is life as gift. Life is something we receive. And even art history whispers the secret. Square halos mark saints still alive. Round halos signified those who had died. Think of Moses. Moses is described as radiant after communing with God. His glow was borrowed light. It's not that he got this glow from within. It's coming. He's receiving it. The semiotics of halos, it didn't stop with the church art. And Dan Brown mentions this in passing, but it just struck me so hard. I mean, we've totally misinterpreted the Statue of Liberty. We think of it as a sign of liberty. No, the French gave it to us as a sign of enlightenment. And the 7 huge 9-foot spikes in the halo, the crown on Lady Liberty, they were to signify the 7 continents, where we're going to spread reason and enlightenment. But wait a minute. But we have made amazing how metaphors get metamorphed. And we've not seen the Statue of Liberty as a sign of reason and enlightenment. We've seen it as a sign of liberty and freedom and calm. When you realize that in the context of Ellis Island and all that it means with the Statue of Liberty there, that there's a deeper meaning to these 7 spikes coming out of this halo. America's greatness has never come from the force of its radiation, but from the grace of its reception, for how it welcomed the world's tired and poor and unwanted masses. Her halo is not just an emblem of freedom shining outward, but first of hospitality received inward. It all begins we've received the unwanted, tired, hurting, hungry masses of the world. And in this incredible environment, we've incubated radiation, but the radiation comes first as a reception, a receiver. So maybe the real secret is this: holiness. And if you put it in another context, nationhood at its best begins not in shining, but in receiving. The halo is not a crown of conquest, but a circle of surrender. Receive. Glow. Then give. Suspicious the day.